Okay, I'd like to call the April 23rd, 2015 regular board meeting to order. We'd like to ask Lieutenant Commander Noah Wolford and Lieutenant Dontavius Shepard to come in and lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order. Arms.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome Beverly King of Broxton United Methodist Church here tonight to lead us in the invocation.
It's my pleasure to be with you tonight. I was kind of counting in my head, and I think in our church we represent, we have about 6 schools represented in one congregation out in Broxton. Wow. So we've got children all the way from Nichols over. So I think I have a great interest in their education, and as a grandmother who doesn't get to see my grandchildren that often, I look out and I see all these little bitty kids out there, and they're my servants. So I have a great interest in seeing that these children are educated and educated well, because these are the future of my church. And Ms. Lois Clyde has been she's been our treasurer now for some 21, 22 years, and she'd like to retire. So you folks are going to have to raise us up some good mathematicians, because she has been making money where there wasn't any for a long time, and keeping us on track. So I'm pleased to be here tonight. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come this evening with grateful hearts for the blessings you send our way. We thank you for the teachers, principals, and support staff who interact daily with our children. We thank you for the superintendent, the administrators, and board members who provide the vision and oversight to guide our school system. We thank you for the parents who entrust their children to the schools each day. And Lord, we ask your blessings on the children who attend our schools. May they learn, mature, and excel. We especially ask this evening for your wisdom, guidance, and discernment as we come together for the business of the Coffee County Board of Education. Direct us as we seek the very best for our schools, our community, our children, and our staff. For it is in the name of Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, everyone had a chance to look over the agenda. Any questions? Maybe a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Any questions? Discussion? All in favor?
Madam Chair, this time we'll review the purpose and direction of our school system, which is the mission, destination, graduation for college, career, and life, and our vision of an equitable and excellent education for every student. Under governance and leadership, we have some special recognitions tonight. I'm going to come up to the podium. First off, we have our Indian Creek recognition tonight. And at this time, I'd like to recognize Dr. Wendell Stone, who's principal at Indian Creek Elementary School, and the archery team. And we're happy to say that the Indian Creek archery team is headed to the national tournament in Louisville, Kentucky, and that tonight we are happy to recognize one of the team members, 5th grade, Maddie Merritt, who finished first overall out of 168 elementary schools. So at this time, I'd like to call up Dr. Stone, and you can say a few words, and then call your student up, and let's hear a little bit about that. Thank you, Dr. Stone. Yes, sir.
well, she actually almost said everything I was going to say. But I was going to start off by saying that sometimes the principal's job is not that much fun, but this gives me great pleasure. This is one of my jobs that gives me great pleasure, recognizing an outstanding student from Indian Creek. And so I'll just go ahead and ask Maddie if she would just come up, and if she would just stand right up here for just a second. Maddie, come on up. This is Maddie. Maddie is a fifth grader at Indian Creek. An absolutely loving child, very polite child, very smart child, just a great girl. She does have her parents here now, and I'm going to ask them to come up too. Miss Tammy Merritt, if you could come on up, and Mr. Scott Merritt, if you just come up and we will just stand Maddie for just a second. But yes, we had 2 years ago an opportunity to establish the archery team in Indian Creek School, and we found out that there are two things you have to have an archery team. One is you've got to have money. Okay, so we raise money for that, and you have to have a coach. And so our coach is back here, Coach Jenkins. If you just come up just a second too. He's our coach, and many of you know him. Coach Jenkins came to Indian Creek a couple of years ago, and he really, and if I say an old football coach, you know what I mean. He's not an old football coach, but he is a football coach. Okay, so he came to Indian Creek. And I will have to admit that Coach Jenkins had to learn how to work with very small children, and now they just love him to death. But now, there's one thing about Coach Jenkins, he likes to win. And so whenever he started working with the archery team, he set forth the standards and set them high, and the children worked hard. And so our archery team participated in Perry, that was the state tournament, and they ended up being 8th in the state. But Maddie took first place among elementary students. And so I just think that is just an outstanding accomplishment. She is just so good at this. You just wouldn't believe somebody as big and strong as her as she is to be able to shoot that bow like that. And she's so good, we thought we'd take this and let Dr. Lee. She's just amazing. And now our team has earned the right to go to Louisville, Kentucky, as Dr. Lee said, and that is going to be in the national competition. And we don't get a lot of opportunity for kids from Coffee County to compete nationally, and I don't remember it ever happening for Indian Creek students, but we are just so very proud of it. And we want you to know, though, that money continues to be a concern, and they are working hard to raise the money. At last counts I had, they had raised about $5,000 or so with car washes and yard sales and different things, and they're working very hard on that. And so, Maddie, outstanding job. We're a very state winner. I just think that is amazing. And if we could get a national title now, we would really enjoy that. Let's give it a shot.
Let's start. Sure. All three. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you. Great.
Y'all need, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How much money y'all need, Scott?
How much money would you? I'd say somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000. The team, there's 24 members on the team, and they've got to go. They're going to have to miss 3 days of school. They're going to have to spend a couple of nights, and they're going to have to eat. And so,
Could we help with it? Like we did FLI? Could we help, could we donate some money for the school?
I think that would be a pleasure of the board, you know, that if y'all want to talk about it, maybe
I
after
don't
this
need to
meeting.
talk about it. They need the money.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Lee, thank you for your support.
All right.
Board, thank you very
When
much.
you gonna let them
You'll be
know?
hearing from us.
All right, thank you.
When you
Thank
gonna let
y'all.
them know?
I'll let them know something tomorrow if y'all do. All right, thank you.
You know, sir.
Thank y'all.
Good luck.
I'm gonna see, we'll get the other people money. Give them some.
Yes, sir.
See you. See you tomorrow.
At this time, we're going to recognize Coffee High. We've got, all right, Dr. Roland Cummings is here to talk about the state science fair. So, Dr. Cummings, if you want to come forward.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. Good evening, everyone. My two students I'm not going to talk about couldn't make it tonight because they're working and they had other prior engagements, but we're going to talk about first our young lady who placed in the state level in the essay contest, and that's Miss Adeline Thomason. I'm just going to read you a little bit from one of her writings. It kind of tells you about the depth and the breadth of her talent in terms of a writer. And I quote, the most unhappy ending in life is one with no lasting impact. Whether it be a well-known book, a 9-season television show, substance is derived from the way in which the audience is left to challenge its own views. As characters within our beloved literature are transformed along the path of moral development, so consequently, we as the audience emerging with a stronger belief system ourselves. It should come as no surprise that this young lady recently earned top honors at the JHSA Pulitzer, if you will, during region literary competition as best essayist in our region. Adeline went on to represent Region 358, where she competed with 80-plus students representing 86 schools throughout the state. Earning a 4th place finish at the state level with perfect scores in content, style, and near perfect scores overall. This Coffee High senior's aptitude for analysis and synthesis, her adeptness at articulating ideas in both the written and spoken discourse, and her infinity for creative expression is more than impressive. It is also unmatched. As you know, we know she'll be joining the Rambling Wreck of Georgia Tech. We know she'll master the written word and will give her a significant advantage over her peers. Besides, those gifts will come handy while writing your research findings, sketching out your perspectives for an architectural design, or scripting out your Nobel Prize acceptance speech. Congratulations, Adeline. You made us very, very proud. And also I wanted to recognize once again Jason Vickers. We talked about him earlier, but Jason at the Region Science Fair. And Jason and his partner also went on to the state level competition where they had a very high finish. Every year, students from around the state of Georgia attempt to solve real-life problems using critical thinking, research, and experimentation. These problems can be local issues that students encounter in their daily lives or local issues that they hear about in the news. The science fair is a forum where students communicate the results of their investigation. This year, 11 Coffee High students showcased their science fair projects at the Georgia Science and Engineering Fair in Athens, Georgia. We're happy to report that Jason Vickers and Cindy Harrington will award second place honors for their project, what is in the eyewash water Coffee High School. And Kyle Ricketson won 4th place for his project, CO2 and ocean acidification. These students are pursuing degrees in science and have already made the first step in becoming good analytic thinkers. We are very proud of these students. Once again, they couldn't be here tonight, but I could just tell you they're kind of symbolic of the type of work that the students and the seniors are doing, the students in general are doing at Coffee High School. And these students have represented Coffee High School and the Coffee County school system in an extremely powerful way. A 4th place finish in the state essay competition, and 2nd place in science fair, and his 4th place finish at the state science fair. They're competing with students from all over the state of Georgia in their classification. So I just want to commend the students, their parents, and their teachers, and the support of everybody in the Coffee school system, because it just doesn't start at high school. Education starts even before they have set foot on the school campus, but it starts in kindergarten, goes all the way up to the 12th grade year. So everybody plays a part of that, and I'll keep re-emphasizing that. They just don't become good students when they get to the high school. It happens before they get to the high school, and we just try to keep them going to the right path and try to build on what the other schools, the elementary schools, and the middle school, and their parents have already taught them. So again, congratulations to these students, and thank you for the opportunity to talk about them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cummings. Earlier, I will add to that earlier this week we had Dr. Clough, from the former president from Georgia Tech, and the director of the Smithsonian Institute out at Coffee High School, and Mr. Francis Lott was there, and several other Georgia Tech graduates, and and there were probably 100 students that you had before the gentleman to speak. Dr. Clough spoke to the students, and Mr. Lott spoke to the students in reference to Georgia Tech and the importance of achieving high levels of education. And at this point, I know you have at least four who are going to Georgia Tech from Coffee High School.
Yes, sir, just at least 4.
So 4 Georgia Tech students headed to Tech this fall. That's pretty impressive coming from Coffee High School. So
Were they, I wasn't able to be there, were they actually awarded?
One student was awarded one of the Promise Scholarship, the Wayne Clough Scholarship, which is endowed by Mr. Lott and his wife. So we do have a winner of that scholarship, which he's endowed.
Mr. Walford, who was
No,
here.
yeah.
Okay.
He is the recipient of the Wayne Clough, or the Clough Scholarship, and that Mr. Lott is endowed.
Yes.
And in several years, the endowment could be to the point where it endows up to 4 scholarships a year.
4 per year.
And so it's a big deal.
In the first, those students first from Coffee High School, the first ones have an opportunity if they have the qualifying applicants, and then it goes to other South Georgia counties. But every year, students from Coffee High School have an opportunity to earn that scholarship.
So, all right. Thank you, Dr. Combs.
Thank you.
At this time, we have, under teaching and assessing for learning, we have our principals annual report, and we've got 2 of our finest principals in Coffee County here, and thank you guys for your hard work and your efforts at your schools. And if y'all want to come up and prepare and present your annual school reports. And I will shake your hand before you give your report. Appreciate everything that you did.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Newell, thanks for all your help the last few days of testing.
You are welcome. Enjoyed being there.
And testing has gone well. I don't know if they spoke about it any at all, but it's not near the booger bear that we thought it was going to be. And we hope the results are going to be similar to what we're seeing from the students and what they're going to do. Can you hear me?
You got a remote up there.
Right here.
Yes, sir.
But it's time for annual report, and I will be brief in my delivery of this. And Eastside Elementary School, as I like to say, Eastside is the best side of the Coffee County school system. But we do have 8 good elementary schools here. And
Right,
see if I can get, okay. This is a look at our student and staff profile. It's pretty much self-explanatory. As of today or yesterday, we had an enrollment of 701. We've been as high as 715 and as low as 686 or 7. We have on staff 72 members, 51 certified staff members, and 21 classified. And this is nothing new to people in Coffee County, especially the folks in the Coffee County school system, the 4-part improvement process that we all live by. And one part of that is the CCRPI, the College and Career Performance Index, of course the system improvement plan, and then the individual school improvement plans, and all are aligned to go in one direction. And that is the education of the children to the best of our ability. We all have data rooms, and we all give an annual report of what has been going on throughout the year. And what I want to talk to you about briefly is pretty much the nuts and bolts of what all Georgia public schools are focused on. And from the State Department, the College Career Readiness Index is something that all of us hope that we can attain. And I would like to go ahead and say that last year, ours was not as good as we wanted it. We were 73 point something, we're 79.6. That's an increase of a little more than 6 percentage points. We were not too far away from being 80%. And we've looked at those things that we need to look at in order to try to improve that and get it as high as we can. And we're not sure if dropping the CT and picking up the Georgia milestone, which this is the first year that it's given. We know that there's probably going to be a lot of things that pop up that we're going to have to focus in on. This is really the page that administrators look at. Performance flags. And if you look in the at the top, at the legend, it tells you what those flags represent: the green, the yellow, the red. Nobody wants to see anything in this area here in the red. And we don't have any. You know, the first time we saw this at Eastside, ours looked like a Christmas tree. And that's exactly what I called it. You know, we've done some things and we've tweaked some things. We've looked at our data in the data rooms, and we've had cooperative planning and grade level planning, and you know, we've picked up and we have improved, but we've got some areas that we still need to improve in, and those areas are in yellow, but we don't have any red. And it gives you a breakdown of language arts right in here, in the reading, mathematics, science, social studies. We just finished the math sections 1 and 2 today on the Georgia milestone. We've got science and social studies next week, next Tuesday and Wednesday. Now these are some of the highlights at Eastside. If you'll look at that top left-hand picture, this is it's an expensive piece of equipment. You wouldn't believe how much those things cost. They have to be safety approved by the state, be put on elementary campuses. This one is certified for kindergarten and above, so we've got it over on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade playground area to keep it out of the sight of the pre-K kids, because once they see it, they're going to get on it, and it's really not approved for them. And this is a combination of our PTO, and we've got a real good one there at Eastside, and of Eastside Elementary, both groups, PTO and us, putting in some money. And I want to thank the Board of Education for your part in that. And it's really nice. They're having a ball on that. And they do get to have recess, and that's the one item that they all head to. But we're very, very proud of that. Down here, you'll see that this little girl is sitting in front of some artwork. We brought art back in to Eastside Elementary School this year through our PE department. And we've got a schedule where kids can go to the health room. Miss Barnwell on Fridays is in there, and they are getting to create with paints, with chalks, with pipe stems and things like that. Our money comes from, of all things, one of the grocery stores here. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I cannot think. Harvey's. Those points that parents sign up for, and according to the amount of groceries they buy, we get a percentage of that, and we utilize that money to buy the paints, the chalk, the paper. They're really having a good time, and that's one of the things that we've talked about as a system, trying to bring some things back that we've lost over the years because of budget cuts and restraints. So, and the high school, thank goodness, has brought music back, and we've got the 5th graders going in there, and they seem to really be enjoying that, and we're very proud of that. The picture up here, the top right, this is what we like to term some team building. Now, this is our Christmas social out at the country cabin, and we had the majority of the staff there, from lunchroom, custodian, parapros, everybody, and to mix and mingle and socialize, and not only work hard at school, but have some time to socialize and enjoy some other things. We have an end of the year meal where we get together and we cater that, and we've got it planned again. Then there's all kinds of things during the school year where we're trying to pep up morale and let our employees know that they are appreciated. And I told Dr. Leach just yesterday, you know, for the time that I've been at Eastside, and I'll get to that in just a minute, I've looked at my role as trying to be the biggest support that I can be. I don't know if it's all about calling yourself a leader and then standing off to the side and examining things from a distance, but more or less getting right in there and putting your hands on whatever it is that you got to do. And I guess that comes from working on the farm and pumping wood and all kinds of things growing up. I think it would behoove a lot of our students, especially fifth graders, to work in the tobacco fields, you know, for a summer, and those kinds of things. But it's all about team building. Down here, this is our PTO. Now, in the past, you know, PTO is important. This is a way for us to disseminate information. And attendance, you know, for a long time was not really good. So we were looking at ways of trying to increase our attendance at PTO. And you know, used to, you could, you know, have a hot dog night or something like that, but we've kind of gotten away from those things, and quite frankly, sometimes the state frowns on that kind of stuff. But what we decided to do, instead of having our awards programs every 9 weeks during the school day, we decided to have it on PTO night. A combination PTO, and I'm telling you now, our PTO attendance has increased 10, 15, 20-fold just by doing that. And not only has it improved that, it has given us back instructional time that we were taking from the school day to do our programs during the day. So we think it's a win-win situation at Eastside. I think that is pretty much it on what I had to deliver to you tonight. The other part of what I want to say is this, and I know it was posted today. I saw it. Kim Clayton sent it out. There happens to be, or will soon be, 2 vacancies at our elementary school, one of which will be my position. I would like to thank Dr. Lease, Board of Education members, and they go back a long way. Folks, I've been at Eastside Elementary School for 20 years. The same exact spot. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've spent time in 2 other school systems, and I can tell you this, I don't know what those systems are doing now, but I do know what this system has done for the last 20 years, and that has steadily climbed the ladder of giving the children here in this county the best possible education that anybody could ever have. I'm not excited, I'm not sad, I'm not depressed. I'm ready to move on to do something different. I have some plans, but I do want to thank you for 20 wonderful years. Eastside will always be the best side in my mind. The other part of that is Dr. Lease, I know, has plans, and there will be interviews and things like that, I'm sure, for the position there at Eastside. I would be amiss if I didn't put in a plug for one of the hardest working women I know of, and one of the most dedicated, and that is Dr. Tucker at Eastside Elementary School. She is jamming up. I know for sure that she is interested. She will apply. And whoever sits in on the interviews are going to be amazed, simply amazed. She does a fantastic job. One of her mottos, and I'll say it for me, for anybody that's in that building, if you hear it one time, you hear it a dozen. What can I do to help you? And she's not flapping her gums. That's her. So with that, I appreciate my tenure here at the Coffee County School System, and especially at Eastside Elementary School. All of you folks here have a tough job. You've got a tremendous responsibility. Dr. Lease, I know you have a lot of sleepless nights with all kinds of things running through your mind, but this is a good school system. It really is, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I can do it either way.
There we go. All right, now, Mr. Davis, you almost made me cry there. It's wonderful, but, okay, you're finishing 30 years, I'm finishing 29 years. There's nothing like looking on the computer and seeing the job that you hold posted on the computer. That happened to us today for me and for Mr. Davis. And Mr. Davis, I admire that you were there for 20 years, and then you followed that up by saying you enjoyed every minute of it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it was a very interesting experience, and I'm going to say that there are some absolutely wonderful teachers at Indian Creek School. I worked at Indian Creek. There's some great teachers there. I worked at Westside. Amazing people at Westside School. I worked at Coffee High School. There are some amazing people there. And I worked at Broxton. And just like he said, this is a very fine school system. I feel like that I had a good smattering of it in my career as I worked with people. And I would have to say that for 99.9% of the people that I worked with, they had one goal in mind, and that was the welfare of the children. That was helping bring quality education to the children. And I'm not just telling you that because my last day is coming here shortly. I really believe that. I am so proud of the teachers in the school system. I'm proud of the parents. The parents have worked very hard, the ones that I've been involved with at Indian Creek and at the other schools. And I am especially proud of the children that have to come to work, and it is, I mean, it's a job for them. They come, they work hard. This Georgia Milestones, I hope you know, is not something that's taken lightly by them. They work really hard at it. They want to do well. The teachers want to see them do well. And so I am just so proud to have been part of that for the last 29 years. And so with that, I'm going to get on with my report now. I'm sorry to bore you, and my report is going to be very similar to Mr. Davis's, and so I actually used his template, but I changed it a little bit. So these are our demographics here. The important thing that I want you to note on here is that we do have a 6% special needs self-contained population. I think that's worth noting as we go through our report here. Okay, now you can barely see that, and if you will recall, Mr. Davis's score was 79 point something. Our report is 70. Okay, so this lets us know that we have some work to do, and we are not scared of hard work, and we're going to ensure that whoever the new principal is at Indian Creek School is going to continue to work hard. The achievement is 48.5. It's right in line with the other schools. There are some things about the progress points and about the challenge points. And please understand, now, I wasn't a Marine, but I know that the motto for the Marines is Marines don't make excuses. Mr. Davis was a Marine, so I'm not making any excuses, but when this data was collected, you might recall that we didn't have an AP, okay? And I may have been attending to other needs that the AP could probably have helped with, and so please just keep that in mind, but don't look at a 70. Now, 70 is still passing, not least we're not a target for the Opportunity School District yet.
That's
the was just
long way
so,
from that.
Yeah, that's never going to happen to a school in Coffee County. That is never going to happen. It is certainly not going to happen to this school right here, but that AP position could have helped with this a little bit. Yes, I'm still very proud of this. If you think that there's a day that the teachers and the children didn't work hard to get that, they worked hard every day. Yes, so I am extremely proud of what they did to get that score. Okay, now I changed my report up a little bit because I wanted to focus on something really positive. And this is some data that we collected as the result of our Striving Reader Grant. And we are in the second year of our Striving Reader Grant. And so if you'll just notice across the top up there, the SRI Lexile growth, and I'm sure that as board members As school people, you know what a Lexile is. That's a number that measures the reading ability of the child. And so in our second grade, and what we're looking for here is the growth. Second grade, the growth went up from the measurement that we took in the fall to the winter. For second graders, it increased by 159 points. Now, and you can look at the rest of it from third grade 110, fourth grade 82, fifth grade 78. So that was the fall measurement, which is the initial measurement of the beginning of the school year. Okay, winter's in the middle. And so we still had to measure again in the spring, and we're predicting that we're going to see growth throughout the year for all of those grade levels and on reading. And as I said, this is connected back to our Striving Reader Grant. Then in the year 2 gains, the important thing to remember here is to look at the green column. What happened for second graders in the advanced group, at the beginning there were only 9%, and when we measured it in the winter, there's 23% in that advanced group for a growth of 14%. For proficient, they went from 30 to 34 for an increase of 4%, and that below, or the beginning reader group, 62% fell in that category at the beginning of the year. At the winter, there was only 43, so 19% came out of that group. So, in other words, improvement in all areas, and so we are just delighted with that. The next information there is for third grade, and so you can see improvement of 6%, 13%, and then 20% moved out of the below basic category into the 37% there. All right. And just a tiny bit more there. This is information for fourth grade. We realized that there's some work to be done there, and for fifth grade. And in every grade level except for one, there was clear grade. So we are very proud of that. I think it was very good use of the Striving Reader money. And then down in the bottom down here, the top part of the nibbles of information, I can barely see it, but all of that indicates growth for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. And those are things like first sound fluency, phonemic segmentation, and nonsense words. Okay.
There's questions about the SRI, that's the
Scholastic Reading Inventory.
Yeah, it used to be like the accelerated reader, took the place of it.
Okay, now
It's
we're
different.
talking about, that's reading counts. We went from
Okay,
accelerated reading to reading counts. This is the,
gives you your
This is the
Lexile.
this is related back to the scholastic products that we bought with the Striving Reading.
Right.
SRI is
Right.
your reading level.
Right.
that
Right.
gives you
Reading
your
44, reading, what's the other one?
Reading 180.
Read 180,
But the
system,
initial-
read 180, system 44.
System 44 for the.
Reading counts.
Back,
I read,
yeah.
it's the
but
big one.
an SRI score, back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when we were in school, when you got a reading score, you got a grade equivalency a lot of times. We don't use grade
Right.
equivalencies anymore, or national percentile rankings. Everybody's using SRI. The SRI score is the reading score of children.
Okay, and so, and here's some highlights from our school in this guy, this is Brady Boone. Brady was one of our students who had been extremely ill, and he was determined to be cancer-free, and so we gave him a new beginning party, and so that was a very wonderful celebration at Indian Creek School. This is our Take a Stand Against Bullying Day. This is one of our proudest moments, in my opinion, the Veterans Day program, and that right there, if you'll see, that is Mr. Davis standing right there, and his granddaughter attends Indian Creek, and so she was one of the singers in our program, and so we're very proud to present that for the community. Say No to Drugs, this is the drug dog. Passionately Pink, And we have a lot of givers at Indian Creek, and I mean, they take a stand against cancer, and so we have very good participation in Passionately Pink. This is a gentleman by the name of Rich Davis who came and portrayed Benjamin Franklin for our students to discuss the love of reading, and so we had 2 assemblies for that, and I think he did inspire the children to enjoy reading. And let me see. Yeah, we've got a couple more. New teachers, these are our new teachers, and I know this is the end of the year, and they came at the beginning of the year, but Kelly Schuch is a first grade teacher. Emily Morris is a first grade teacher. In the middle, Miss Bethany Bennett, and believe it or not, she is full grown, but that is Miss Bethany Bennett. She's been a very wonderful teacher. Amy Sims is a kindergarten teacher, and then Wanda Schuch is a teacher who speaks up. Well, I think y'all know who she is. She transferred over to us. And then, okay, last thing I was going to finish up with was the information about going to nationals, and I told you all about that a while ago. So we're very proud of our parent involvement with that. It's a very popular program. I would encourage all of the principals to get the children involved with the archery at each of the schools. The children just absolutely adore that. And so it goes back to what I said, though, you got to have a coach and you got to have some money to be able to put that in. But it is worthwhile, and it involves the kids in the after-school activities. So, again, let me just thank you for 29 years working in the school system. I have enjoyed it very much. I would like to say thank you to the teachers and the staff at Indian Creek School. They have put up with me there for 9 years. It is a very fine and wonderful place to work. Dr. Lisa, I've enjoyed working with you. Thank you very much, and all of you. Thank you for everything you do for the Boys and Girls of Coffee County. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Stone.
I got one thing me and the world were talking about was the data he was showing. We spent a lot of money with this driver reader stuff, and we've seen a lot of different data about it, and everything we do now seems to involve digging into this data, but I found it kind of interesting the way he had it broke out. Second and third graders, seems like to me that stuff really is paying off. You see a lot of gains. Fourth and fifth graders, there's some gains, but there's not near as much. So that tells me that if you're going to believe this data, that obviously the earlier we get involved in that, and the earlier we get these kids with these programs, the more success they're having.
Yes, sir.
Like I say, second, third, fourth, fifth, you could see the improvement waning.
Yes, sir.
That's the first time I've seen it breaking out quite that way. I like that.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate y'all being here, and thank you for what you do. Y'all both had great careers, and I know have loved the children and the teachers, and done great things for Coffee County. So appreciate you.
Congratulations to you guys.
You're going to enjoy it.
Don't fish too much, man. Catch them better than me.
I hear you.
All right. We'll move on to the consent agenda. On the consent agenda for tonight's meeting, we have the minutes from the previous meeting. The board has placed the minutes on the consent agenda to be approved. We have the monthly financial report that is on the consent agenda. And on the monthly financial report, Mr. Drehush, we have a ending fund balance for this month of $8,156,664.51. Other documents included in that monthly financial report include the monthly financial report comparison to this time last year. At this time last year, we had a fund balance of $8,766,698.39. So you'll see our fund balance is down around $600,000 as compared to last year at this time.
But we've also put back the or actually not put back, but instituted a 3% cost of living allowance that's
Yes, sir.
since January 1.
We have put in place a 3% cost of living adjustment for all of our classified staff. We have no furlough days this year. This is the first year in probably 6 years that we've not had any furlough days. So it's, we understand our challenges that will continue. The state still has austerity in place. They've given back about 3/4 of the austerity, so there's still a significant amount of austerity that we would ask our state representatives, state senators to plead with the governor to fully fund public education here in Coffee County and throughout the state. So financial report, our SPLOST report that's part of that financial report we talked about earlier, and our monthly collections on the SPLOST are, Mr. Drahush, could you tell what the monthly collections were on SPLOST for this month?
Yes,
last month?
For the month of March, it was $462,875.44.
Thank you. And that's the monthly financial report. Out-of-state travel, we're asking the board to approve an out-of-state trip for Indian Creek Elementary School that we've talked about already in this meeting. They're going to Kentucky to compete in the National Archery Championship. So we're asking the board to approve that out-of-state travel for that group.
Hold on, Doc.
Yes, sir.
That's on the consent agenda.
It's on the consent agenda. Yes, sir.
I'd like to take that one separate.
All right. So we'll move the out-of-state travel as a separate item. All right. Bids, we have bids on the consent agenda. We have bids for cafeteria serving line equipment at Eastside Elementary School. A bid from Norvell Fixture and Equipment for $22,568, and we have a bid from Strategic Equipment and Supply of $21,755.35. Mr. Drahush, do you have any comments on this equipment for the cafeteria at Eastside Elementary School?
Just to reiterate what we said earlier in the work session, this equipment will allow the students there at Eastside Elementary to have the offer versus serve. That breaks down to the students will be able to come through that line and pick what they want, what vegetables, what fruits, what they want to put on their trays as they go through the line. So this equipment will give them the ability to do that going forward. And it'll be the last elementary school to switch over to this offer versus serve capability.
All right, thank you. The next item on the consent agenda is review of policy IKDB and also the handbook for the school system. And the superintendent, myself, recommends that the board amend policy IKDB and the student handbook, page 37, by removing the requirement of passing the Georgia High School graduation test as a requirement to participate in the graduation ceremony. This would allow students who are attending the Coffee County schools but have not passed one or more parts of the graduation test and are otherwise eligible to participate in the graduation ceremony. This would allow their participation in the graduation ceremony. And this is a result of House Bill 91 that was signed by the governor March 30th that eliminated the requirement of passing the Georgia High School graduation test to receive a diploma in Georgia. So we are therefore responding locally to allow those students to participate in the ceremony. And those are the students who are currently enrolled at Coffee High School or the Career Academy and currently are working as students within the system. Yes, sir. Mr. Johnson?
So, House Bill 91, do you care to talk about it a little bit?
Yes, sir. Great point. House Bill 91 was signed on March 30th by the governor, and it allows students who had previously come through school going back from 1981 to the current who had not passed from 81 to 92, I think it is. They had the basic skills test that students had to pass to be able to earn a diploma, and in the state of Georgia. Then in 92 or 94, they implemented the Georgia high school graduation test. So if a student in that range from 81 to the present had not passed either that basic skills test or not passed the graduation test, and that was the only reason that they didn't get a diploma, those students are now eligible to petition the Board of Education to get a diploma. We have the petitions here at the board office. We have the petition at the centralized enrollment office. We also have it located online on our website. So if a student lives in California or a former student that went to school here between 81 and the present lives in, let's say, California, and they did not earn a diploma because they didn't pass one of those tests, but they had all the credits, but that was the reason they didn't get the diploma, was because they hadn't passed the test. And they can fill out that form, submit it to the Coffee County school system here, and we will process it through the centralized enrollment office. So if anybody's watching on TV and you have a loved one or you have a relative or yourself that was not granted a diploma because you did not pass one of those tests, but you had the credits to graduate, you can fill out that petition and turn it in at our centralized enrollment office. And our staff at the centralized enrollment office has been trained to review the transcript, and if they meet the criteria, they have the credits, and the test was the only reason they didn't earn the diploma, then they will sign the form, and then it comes to this office, and then we sign the form, and then they're granted a high school diploma. So that's the process, and that's what we're doing to satisfy House Bill 91 for those students who did not earn a diploma for that reason.
My understanding was over 9,000.
In the state of Georgia, yes, sir. They're saying that there was around 9,000 in the state. We've already processed probably 80 of those petitions here locally. So that means we've got approximately 80 individuals in Coffee County right now who have earned their diploma or received their diploma as a result of House Bill 91.
And we're gonna get that word out through the media, right?
Yes, sir. By law, we have to run a press release, and it has to run just as a legal that we would run as an advertisement for a bid or something like that. It has to meet the same specifications, and we will run that legal advertisement. Legally, we have to run it one time this year, and then one time each year for the next 3 years. So we will be running that in the paper. It will also go out after tonight's meeting on the local media, and it's on our website, and we've already had a great response. And I'm so excited. I tell you, we've had young people come in, and now they're adults. And this will open doors for them for their future that otherwise were closed. So
Could Luke or Ed write maybe a short little article about it? And
we've got a
be in
press
there?
release that we've been working on, but we want to make sure, this is so new, it just was released March 30th is when the governor signed the law. And so we want to make sure what we put out is correct, but we are working on a press release, yes ma'am. Are there any other questions about this recommendation concerning the policy and the handbook? All right, if there's no other questions, I would ask the board to approve the consent agenda as presented, excluding the out-of-state travel.
Move we approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
All right, the out-of-state travel, the archery trip to Kentucky.
Yes, sir, Madam Chairman. If I may, I would like to make a motion to give the archery team the rest of the money that we did at FCLC.
How much, yeah, FCCLA, how much was it that is needed?
3 more thousand.
They raised up 4,000 to 5,000, and they said the cost would be somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000. And so there's not a specific amount.
So you need somewhere between 3 and 5. is what-
Something like that.
Amend the motion to, that we offer to match funds up to $4,000. If they raise 4, we match 4. Is that?
Absolutely.
That'd be-
Yes.
Sounds good to
Sound
me.
great to me?
sounds like a good
Need a motion?
Yes.
I make a motion that we amend that motion I made to 4,000 match day funds.
All right.
No, second?
Second.
All those in favor?
All right, thank you.
4,000?
Appreciate it. Thank you, board.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Stone.
I need further
It is.
I need to learn how to shoot.
I teach that. Thank you.
Now he wants some fish.
I was fish. No, I'm just kidding.
I just feel like it's important that when a principal and a coach or a teacher gets involved in something that we're actually trying to take outside the standard classroom and keep kids engaged, that we don't want to discourage it by not trying to figure out some way to support that financially if we can. So if we can start baby steps and match some funds, and then maybe we can grow these programs where they'll most self-support themselves.
We may need to develop policy.
Well, that's what I said, I think, I know with FCCLA, you know, the reason we donated that money was because we felt like it was a national competition, and we wanted to still take that just like we did with archery. But, you know, the more and more we start stepping out of that, might be something we need to get together and say, well, we have somebody that is going to a national competition, or what have you, here's how we're going to, you know, help them out, and that way we're fair to everybody.
Yes.
not-
Right.
Yes.
Because, you know, you don't want to go over
More
and give
equality.
yeah,
That's
make
right.
sure that we're, you know, treating everybody fairly, but that's something we definitely can talk about.
Appreciate that. I appreciate you, Mr. Preston, engaging, you listening. I appreciate that. Just a team right here.
That's an exceptional effort. We've got those young kids going to a national competition. That's the first year it's been out. You know,
They're excited about it.
this isn't something they worked 10 years to get to. They saw immediate success and proud for them. So,
All right. Is there anything else, board members? At this time, I would ask that we move to a executive session to deliberate on or discuss the appointment, employment, and compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee. We'll discuss personnel in executive session.
so move.
All those in favor? We're now in executive session. Need a motion to exit executive session?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to mention, before we conclude tonight, I'm going to mention the retiree reception on Tuesday, May 5th at 4 o'clock, from 4 to 5:30 at the Atrium in downtown Douglas. So as we conclude this meeting, I do want to mention the retiree reception at the Atrium, May 5th. At this time, I would ask the board members to approve the personnel list as recommended. The monthly, regular monthly personnel list that was presented for April 23rd, 2015, as it was presented, and then also the full list of Coffee County School certified recommendations for 2015-16. The list goes from 100 through 525. I would ask the board to rescind or to
Just vote separately.
vote separately on 252, 360, 517, and 518. So at this time, I'd ask the board to approve the personnel.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
All right. And the 252, 360, 517, and 518.
Can I do more at the
We're
time?
doing one at a time now.
252.
So
Excuse myself.
You see it?
Second.
All in favor?
Somebody was going to stay on that.
I did.
Oh, okay.
All those in favor?
360.
I recuse myself.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
517 and 518.
So moved.
I abstain.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
You're making a motion to get the motion to accept the resignation.
Yes, except the resignations that were, there was a list of resignations that was included in the personnel. Let me see.
substitute teachers.
Yes, sir, and we have the resignations of the 5 employees there. And the resignation of the retirees also that were accepted. And then we also had a substitute teacher list there, asking the board to approve. And the board had a chance to review all that, asking the board to approve.
So moved.
All those in favor?
All right, thank y'all. The Boys and Girls Club Dancing with the Stars event is tomorrow night. That is the 24th of April. And Miss Judy Worrell and her son, Jared Wood, will be representing tomorrow night at the dance-off. Do you have any words about the dance-off, Miss Worrell?
Just be ready to laugh.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it, and if you can make it out there, please make it out. Remember the retirement reception that we'll be having, and this concludes our meeting.
I got one thing I need to say, Mr. World. I'm talking to the parents out there. Don't forget to tell your kids you love them. Good night.